He comprehendeth all things, and all things are before him, and all things are round about him, and he is above all things, and in all things, and is through all things, and is round about all things, and all things are by him, and of him, even God, forever and ever. D&C 88, verse 41. We have been told that God is an infinite being, and we understand these concepts abstractly. But is there a way that science can prove infinity? We decided to explore what university honor students thought about this question, because we believe that time dilation can help us understand the possibility of infinite time and space, which in turn can improve our understanding of how God is an infinite being. Can we foster the same level of understanding in the university honors culture? We're about to find out.
He's omnipotent, he is omniscient, and he is all-knowing. He created the world, so he's got all power over the world. He's all intelligent, very intelligent. He's got the priesthood power.
I have no insight into that question, because that's something that I don't think we can comprehend. Not that it's not worth trying to comprehend. I think we're very limited by our cultural ideas, not even just cultural, but just more mortal ideas about time.
The fact that time can be dilated by high-speed travel is quantifiable and exhibited in an equation. T prime equals t over the square root of 1 minus the velocity squared over the speed of light squared. T prime represents the time a stationary person experiences, t the time a person traveling experiences, v the traveler's velocity, and c the speed of light. We will now plug in a set of variables in order to solve for the time experienced by the traveler. The speed of light is a constant, which means it is always the same and is 2.998 times 10 to the 8th meters per second, which is basically 3 times 10 to the 8th meters per second. Half the speed of light is about 1.5 times 10 to the 8th meters per second, and in this example we will use that as the velocity of the traveler. For simplicity's sake, we will use 1 second as our variable for the time experienced by the traveler. We will now plug these numbers into their respective spots. The time experienced by the stationary person is 1.1547 seconds, while in the same interval the traveler only experienced 1 second. Gamma is how we represent this ratio. Gamma, mathematically, is t prime over t, so it means that a stationary person experiences a certain amount of time per unit that the traveler experiences. Since we set our t to 1, our gamma and t prime will be the same, so gamma equals 1.1547. Now we will hold everything the same while we increase the velocity and show the results. Velocity will be shown in terms of the speed of light. 0.75 c means the traveler is going at 75% of the speed of light. When we solve it with this velocity, the gamma increased, which means that the time is now more condensed for the traveler. As you see, as I plug in different fractions of the speed of light, t prime increases, and since our t is constant at 1, our gamma is equal to t prime. When the velocity of the traveler finally reaches 1, it will be an indefinite number. Therefore, as one approaches the speed of light, the factor by which time for them is dilated approaches infinity.
I think that also makes him more accessible to us because he uses a lot. I mean, you could argue that if you want to argue that that's how he's infinite, which I don't think you're doing, but if you wanted to, like obeying a law of physics makes him more accessible because we also obey laws of physics.
Things like this equation and other, examples that people have used to, quote unquote, prove the existence of a God. To me, they all just show that science is not something that has to be apart from God, but science is something that God utilizes it's God's language. And we've tapped into like a few things about science, but everything God does or is can be explained, just not in ways we understand. And science, I think, is 100% of God. And, the more we understand of it and different variables and different dimensions, we can definitely come closer to God and to knowing his mysteries.